So, new training cycle, it's going to be running from September 23rd, which is a Monday, obviously, to Black Sheep games. So, this is it's a 7-week cycle. Normally, we have 8-week cycles. This time around, it's 7 weeks so that we can peak people for Black Sheep games. So, that'll be the plug right there. If you're not already signed up for Black Sheep games, sign up for Black Sheep games. If you're nervous about being ready for it or training for it or whatever, at least as far as your class workout exposure, you're going to be peaking towards that weekend. So you're going to be training for it similar to like the open stuff. When we say you're going to do the open workouts anyway, you might as well sign up. You're going to be training and peaking for Black Sheep games. If you're a member here at BlackSheep CrossFit, sorry, eventually I'll stop doing that. So you might as well sign up. So, talking about the template. Starting off on Mondays, we've got some sports-specific style chippers. These chippers are going to highlight the ability to maintain power across higher volume rounds, mainly utilizing strength, speed, endurance movements, coupled with rotating on a rotation of monostructural movements, so rowing, bike erging, echo biking, skiing, and gymnastics movements. And the gymnastics movement that we're going to be highlighting on Mondays, just to switch it up a little bit, is actually we're going to be doing a lot of rope climbs over the next 7 weeks. I think 4 of our Monday workouts are going to highlight rope climbs. So that'll be fun. And remember, when we talk about strength, speed, endurance, and what that entails, that's generally power clean power clean, squat clean, cleans and snatches, hang variations, full variations, squat variations, power variations. But when we talk about chippers utilizing strength, speed, endurance, that's chippers utilizing snatches and clean and jerks along with monostructural and gymnastic stuff. It's I feel like super awkward because I'm like, there's no camera in front of me. Yeah, there's like literally nothing there. I'm like talking to the ghost of Puff Daddy.
Yeah, why is it? Is that just to get more of a side angle? Yeah. You did say you like this.
It's fine. I'll just talk to this light switch right here. So on top of those Mondays, we're going to be running a squat cycle. I don't even want to really call it a squat cycle, given the squat cycle that we just came out of. Yeah. It's just going to be we're going to call it squat exposure. So if you recall, the last 8 weeks, we ran an 8-week back squat twice a week, heavy, progressive loading, based on neuromuscular efficiency score. This is going to be nowhere near that because we're peaking for like a live event. We're peaking for a theoretically a CrossFit competition. There's a much bigger highlight on being fit as a person in fitness, meaning like what fitness and what CrossFit as a sport asks of us, and less of like specifically strength peaking. So we use that back squat cycle kind of like to lay the foundation. I'm like very gassy right now. I gotta like get this burp out. I don't know what is happening. Ugh. I had a late lunch.
I want to just eat dinner.
I know. I had a late lunch. But I had I've had it for like 4 days a week now. Chicken tender Publix sub, bag of Sun Chips, the iced tea, I like a 99-cent iced tea, the Arizona one, and then a yo-yo cookie. So if you don't know about yo-yo cookies, check out the yo-yo cookies.
Apparently they're the best.
Yeah, not every Publix has them, but they're very good. So that's why I'm a little gassy right now, I think. So we laid the foundation, kind of like a strength-based foundation with the back squat cycle that we just did. It was super taxing. Those of you guys that did it, and especially those of you guys that did all of the days, you would probably want to vomit at the thought of doing another cycle like that right now. And that's why we're not doing it. So we're doing a front squat cycle. It's going to be a lot more simple. It's going to be fairly intense but fairly low volume. So just to give an idea, we start off on the first Monday of the week, September 23rd, the first Monday of the squat cycle, with front squat 5, 5, 5, rest 3 to 4 minutes between sets. all sets tough. So generally speaking, if and this is kind of like a linguistics conversation, and it's just like a generic conversation about how things can be written. If you see front squat, 5 reps times 3 sets, rest 3 to 4 minutes between sets, that usually suggests that you want all of the weights at the same weight across the board. And usually when it's written as 5, 5, 5, the suggestion is, we do want them to be all tough, but the suggestion is that you're building to a moderately tough 5 throughout the 3 sets. So front squat, 5 reps times 3 sets is usually a similar weight across the board. Front squat, 5, 5, 5. It's the same structure. It's the same suggestion as far as we're doing 3 sets of 5, but it's a different structure as far as we're looking for you guys to build. So as far as your results go, you're going to post your heaviest set of 5. With that being said, we don't want your first set of 5 to be extremely light. We're only getting 15 total working reps in for this first week, and every single week the volume's going to go down. So the expectation is that obviously the intensity or the weight in this case is going to go up. But because you're only getting 15 total working reps in, we want all 15 to be really heavy, and potentially close to like a 5 rep max by the last set. So that's Monday. Tuesday, we're going to keep running with the same theme that we have for the last couple months now, which has been aerobic sustainability training. When we're doing aerobic work, so when we're doing aerobic and power work, so if we made 2 like generalized classifications as far as like opposite ends of the spectrum when we're talking about fitness and energy systems in fitness, we have longer sustainable aerobic work, and then we have shorter unsustainable anaerobic or power work. When you're working on your aerobic ability, you usually start off on the long end of things, and then you work yourself down more powerful. And then when you're working on your anaerobic abilities, you usually start off on the very, very short like bursts, and then you try to make that more sustainable. So on these Tuesdays, if you guys recall, when we started this whole concept, like probably 4 or 5 months ago, probably even longer than that now, we started off with some 10-minute AMRAPs. And then we did 10-minute AMRAPs for weeks, and then we did 5s, and then we did 3s, and now we're down to 2-minute AMRAPs, or 2-minute work bouts, because we're actually alternating back and forth between for time pieces and AMRAP pieces. So for example, weeks 1 and week 3, and then week 5 and week 7 will obviously be the same, but it's going to be written in a way that looks very similar to like the inclusive sets that we do, or the inclusive sets that we've been doing over the last 2 cycles, because the inclusive sets this time around are going to look very different. But if you guys recall, inclusive sets have usually had 3 exercises, and it was a monostructural movement, a gymnastics movement, and a barbell or weight-bearing movement with 2 to 3 minutes rest between sets. And then we've been repeating that depending on the part of the cycle that we're in for like 3 to 4 sets. So this aerobic sustainability training on the odd weeks is going to be 2 monostructural movements followed by a light barbell or a light dumbbell movement, 2 minutes rest between sets times 10 sets. And the way that we finagled it is that the expectation on each round is we're trying to keep people right around the 2-minute mark. So as far as scaling purposes go, if you guys are watching this on Tuesdays where you see it's 10 sets for time, if you're somebody that you're really bad at like bar facing burpees and just looking ahead, if you're bad at bar facing burpees, or you're a really bad runner, or you're bad at biker, whatever the issue might be, what?
I said, geez.
Well, I'm saying like either or, not that you're bad at all those things. And you need to scale, like if you're looking at pieces of work on Tuesdays in the 10 sets for time, and you're like, yeah, this is going to take me 3.5 minutes. We are expecting and hoping that this is going to take people in like the 1.5 to 2.5 minute range. So if you're thinking that you're going to surpass 2.5 minutes, we're going to suggest, and we'll remind you the day of on Tuesdays as you're getting coached through it. We'll remind you, but we want that to take 2 minutes. So we want to scale down if needed. And then on the even weeks, it's going to look very similar to what the last couple weeks have looked like and couple months have looked like, where there's going to be a very, very short buy-in and then AMRAP and remaining time of calories. And I know I've really enjoyed those types of days. It makes for like some really fun, cool battles. And just from like an improving fitness perspective, it's good and it's challenging to like build up some fatigue and then get on a machine for an extended period of time and then have to kind of like make sure that you're not slowing down. So that's been cool.
I feel like it shows too, like if you need more work on a certain machine as well.
For sure, yeah. And they can kind of point that out. So that's been fun. So again, we're continuing with the same theme on aerobic sustainability stuff on Tuesdays. We've been getting good feedback with that, and I've really enjoyed it. So we're going to continue with that. Wednesdays are going to be our inclusive sets days. So this is phase 4, just so that everybody's on the same page as far as like what we're talking about. This is phase 4 of the current training year. And when we talk about training years, the training year starts with the conclusion of the open. So when we say phase 4, that's not phase 4 coming from January 1st, but phase 4 coming from like actually March-ish. Just so that we're all on the same page as far as like what we're talking about. The phase, I believe phase 2 was when we originally introduced inclusive sets and kind of like coined the phrase, and then kind of started working with some progressions on what that would look like, and manipulating different orders that we were going to put movements in as far as monostructural, barbell, and gymnastic stuff goes, and then kind of like playing with loading and volume and that kind of stuff. So phase 2, it was on Fridays. Phase 3, which was last phase, it was on Mondays. And if you guys recall, amongst other things, phase 2, we had 3 minutes rest between rounds for the majority of the cycle, and then we were doing it for 3 sets. Phase 3, we had 2 minutes rest between rounds, and we've been doing it for 3 sets. What we're going to be doing now on these Wednesdays, just to continue the progression and continue to make it more challenging, it's 2 minutes rest between sets or rounds for 4 sets, but we've added another component to it, being that it's now in a pyramid format. So the way that the inclusive sets over the last 2 phases have looked is 3 movements, rest times 3 sets. And then we played with the order on whether or not the gymnastic or the barbell movement or the monostructural movement came first. What we're doing now, and it's going to make it more challenging, it's going to make it so that we can load people up with more volume while still keeping the intensity up. It's going to be a movement, like we'll call it like movement A, then movement B, then movement C, then movement B, then movement A. So, for example, week 1, 10 bar facing burpees, 2 rope climbs, 10 snatches, 2 rope climbs, 10 bar facing burpees. So rather than seeing every exercise 1 time per set times 3 sets, you're seeing 2 of the 3 exercises twice per set times 4 sets. So there's going to be a lot more volume that's accumulated. So for the first 4 weeks, which we're splitting this cycle into two like blocks, we're gonna have a 4-week block and then a 3-week block where we kind of like just change some small things up. But for the first 4 weeks of this block, it's going to go monostructural movement, gymnastic, barbell movement, gymnastic, monostructural movement. So that's kind of what you can expect as far as that goes. So the highlight is going to be on the barbell movement, where you could imagine, again, we talked about this, like you could imagine how just changing the order of things can drastically change workouts. If we were to do, so again, same example, or I'll use the next week's example. 8 calorie echo bike, 8 handstand push-ups, 10 deadlifts, 8 handstand push-ups, 8 calorie echo bike. That might feel a certain way. Whereas if we did 8 calorie echo bike, 10 deadlifts, 16 handstand push-ups, 10 deadlifts, 8 calorie echo bike, that might feel a separate way. And then if we did 8 handstand push-ups, 10 deadlifts, 16 calorie echo bike. So, and I think you guys catch what I'm putting down, like the volume, all those different scenarios, the volume stayed consistent, but the order changed, and it would drastically change like who would be good at the workout and what we would be training. So we've got a lot more room that we can get better with those inclusive sets. And just to beat a dead horse, and I think I said this last training cycle video and probably the one previous to that, if there was one way of training that if somebody was like, hey, you can only train in one way just like a would you rather type of thing. What training method would you rather train with and not be able to train anything else? It would be these inclusive sets, because you can manipulate it in such creative ways that you can get really, really fit doing this. And then you'll see on Saturday, because we're playing around with a new thing with inclusive sets on Saturday also. So I'll talk about that when I get there. But these inclusive sets, don't miss Wednesdays and Saturdays if that's a thing for you. If you have to like strategically pick based on your training, what days when are your rest days? Wednesdays and Saturdays are going to be really, really valuable days. So that's Wednesdays. Thursdays, sticking with the same theme that we have since the beginning of time on Thursdays, which is going to be long end style aerobic work. We're not doing anything organized as far as like a test, retest, and then building volume and building intensity throughout like a running program, or throughout, like, I think we called it like the quadathlon that we did, like the BlackSheep quadathlon that we did on a 4-week progression. We're not doing anything like that. It's just going to be much more like mixed modal in nature. But we are going to be alternating back and forth between sets for time or rounds for time and AMRAPs. We are playing around with something new, which is going to be cool. It doesn't start week 1 of the cycle, but week 2 of the cycle, we're going to be implementing GHD sit-ups into class workouts on Thursdays for the first time that we ever have. So that'll be fun. We've never done that before.
Get sore.
Yeah. And yeah, people are going to get super sore. But with that being said, we are being strategic on how we're loading people up, like assuming that probably half the population has never done a GHD sit-up, let alone a GHD sit-up with intensity and in the middle of a workout. So we're going to try to ease people in somewhat of an organized fashion, but you have that to look forward to. And we won't get into specifics about how somebody might scale that. If like you're watching this and you're like, man, my back hurts when I do GHD sit-ups, we're going to have options for that. So don't worry about that. We're not going to talk about that right now. But what can you expect on Thursdays? Long end stuff, probably in like the 20 to 30 minute range for the majority of the cycle. GHD sit-ups, which again will be fun, and locomotive stuff meaning like picking things up and moving things over distance, which would be like an example, odd object carries and such, sandbag bear hug carries, farmer carries, that kind of thing. So that's gonna be Thursdays. Fridays are going to be a lot of fun. Fridays, as far as our strength goes, so we have 2 strength days. We really have 3 strength days, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. But 2 like true strength days for this cycle. We're going to be front squatting on Mondays. We're going to be deadlifting on Fridays. The deadlift rep scheme and the deadlift like concept for this cycle, at least for the first half of the cycle, first 4 weeks, is going to look very similar to the front squat rep ranges, and it's going to be written the same. So like deadlift 5, 5, 5, rest 3 to 4 minutes between sets, all tough. The expectation is you're starting heavy and you're ending close to a 5 rep max. On the deadlifts for today, for this cycle, touch and go is going to be fine. You don't have to drop from the top, and you don't have to necessarily kill your momentum. If you want to kill your momentum just because you're like, you're one of those people that like, no, I don't like having any type of bang on the bar. Cool, that's personal preference. If you are going touch and go, I'd say limit how much you're banging it, because like this is not necessarily an efficiency perspective. How fast can we move a 225-pound bar for 20 reps where that would be good? We actually kind of want it to be harder, and if we can make deadlifting and strength harder, then we're going to get even better at the movement. Then as far as the conditioning goes, and we're going to be running with this probably till close to the end of the year. So for the next probably 2 phases, we're going to be bringing back some old open workouts, that we don't generally do. So if you've been here long enough, we go through different periods of time, and you'll remember that we go through different periods of time, where on Fridays we'll hit some old open workouts, and there's probably like,
oh, I remember this one.
What?
Week 2, Friday.
Yeah.
That one was divided up however you wanted it, though, right?
No. That was the row wall ball muscle up one.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you recall, so we tend to throw in some open workouts on Fridays from time to time. It's fun. It gives us like there's always a lot of data on open workouts, obviously, that we can refer back to, so we can it's a really good like weekly tester thing that we can put people through while still getting a good training stimulus. We're going to be doing some open workouts that we don't generally repeat. So if you've been here long enough, there's like 4 to 6 open workouts that I'm a huge fan of that I think are great tests of fitness that we kind of throw in there, like sometimes 2 or 3 times a year, just to see how people are progressing. One of them actually being the one that we did last Wednesday. A little bit of a difference because we changed the time cap a little bit, but as far as the movements go, it was the same. So we're going to be doing, over the next 4 weeks, 3 of the open workouts are from the first open in 2011, and one of them being from 2012. So we're kind of starting like from scratch, or starting from the beginning of time as far as the CrossFit Open is concerned, and we're sprinkling in some old open workouts, and we're going to build throughout over the next couple weeks and couple months to get into more recent open workouts. But we're going to get a lot of touches on old open workouts, then medium range open workouts, then newer open workouts, just to kind of like give some data. And we will be getting back to posting daily workout videos on Wodify. So there'll be a lot of, especially for Fridays, there'll be a lot of like data that we can refer back to say, hey, if you're this type of athlete, you should be trying to get this score. If you're this type of athlete, you should be trying to get that score. And that obviously can get very fun with open workouts and repeats of open workouts. Which brings us to Saturday. Saturdays are going to be cool. Saturdays are going to be, like I said, similar to Wednesdays as far as the inclusive sets. With that being said, the volume is going to be a tad bit higher as far as the rounds go. So you're going to be doing, so for the next 3 Saturdays, you're going to be doing eight total rounds. And like Saturdays generally are, it's going to be 1-to-1. But every single week, there's going to be a barbell movement, a very, very low skill, or a generally low skill, like a bar facing burpee or like a dub or a jump rope, a generally low skill gymnastic or body weight exercise, and then a monostructural movement like a run, like a ski. You guys know what monostructural means by this point. But the barbell movement is always going to supersede the gymnastics and the run and the monostructural movement, and the weight's going to ascend. So we're going to have every week for the next couple weeks is going to be 8 rounds, 16 rounds because you're doing it with a partner, but 8 each. And your first 2 rounds are going to be more reps at a lightweight. So I'll give an example. The first Saturday, we've got front squatting. Round 1 and 2, you're going to be doing 14 reps at 115.75s. 115.75. Round 3 and 4, 12 reps at 135.95. Rounds 5 and 6, 10 reps at 155.105. Rounds 7 and 8, 8 reps at 185.125. So we're kind of doing a couple things here. We're doing the inclusive sets as far as the structure goes, but we're doing some battery work, and specifically some strength battery work, building up some localized fatigue and movement, and then looking to increase weight and continue to be able to still move at a high intensity and with some power. So Saturdays are going to be fun. Saturdays are training day. Sometimes throughout training cycles we'll kind of we will use Saturdays and design Saturdays kind of as like an active recovery day kind of thing, where we're still getting the heart rate up and we're still getting the intensity exposure and the intensity dosage. But as far as like a taxing perspective and a volume perspective, we keep it fairly low. That's not going to be the case over the next 7 weeks. Saturdays are going to be nasty. So you're going to want to hit Saturdays. Yeah, Saturdays are going to be fun. Yeah, they're going to be fun. And as always, and again, the coach, Logan, will tell you guys this when you guys come in, but just as a reminder for those of you guys watching this, even if you can't do the weights, or maybe you can't do the last weight in some of these ascending ladders on these Saturday workouts, then scale it, but we still want some type of weight increase, even if it's just 5 pounds to the bar every 2 rounds, but we still want some type of weight increase. We don't want to keep the weight consistent. It's just a different stimulus. That's what we're looking for. So that's just to reiterate, September 23rd through November. I think off the top of my head, I think November 10th is the Sunday of BlackSheep games. So it'll be through November 10th. So that's what you got this week, or this training cycle, I should say. If you're not signed up for BlackSheep games, I would highly suggest you do it. we're doing something real cool with the Friday Night Lights kind of thing. So individuals are working out Friday night and then Saturday, and then teams of 2 are working out on Sunday, and we're programming it so that somebody could, and we're hoping that people will do both individual and team, and you'll be able to get that done. And it'll be a long weekend, and it'll like suck, but it'll be fun. You'll when it's done, you'll have a sense of accomplishment. So I highly suggest signing up for this year's Black Sheep Games if you haven't already done that. All right, here's my awkward goodbye.
To the light switch.